All right, so today I'll be talking about something called MediaCred, and it's a solution to combating echo chambers. All right, so the problem with echo chambers, well, first of all, they're becoming increasingly problematic, right? The internet is the most widely used method of receiving media, and thus is really amplifying this problem. Feedback loops and filter bubbles are also an issue, which are essentially people's initial beliefs that are being bounced back to them repeatedly. And finally, fake news, which causes decreased public trust in media that we've seen really dramatize over the years. So the problem with existing recommendation algorithms on search engines and things like that, well, how they work is essentially an array of options are recommended. A choice is made by the user and then factored into the algorithm. The output of the algorithm becomes part of its input and creates feedback loops. Algorithms do not understand the distinction of whether one is actually interested or just clicked on it because it was recommended to them. It reinforces similar beliefs. It separates users into filter bubbles or echo chambers, where differing views are really completely removed. Algorithm training data also starts out with inherent biases and continue to reinforce them. So we can solve this with something called MediaCred, which is an algorithm that aids in the avoidance of echo chambers and pushes a wide range of differing perspectives on a topic, ensuring that content isn't biased. So how does MediaCred solve? Well, first of all, it uses a scoring system. It takes the user's choice as factors for scoring. The effect will cause the algorithm to play down similar choices instead of reinforcing them like existing algorithms. It breaks filter bubbles and feedback loops, and it gives people the opportunity to hear different voices as a result. The algorithm would also be embedded into a browser extension across search engines. The scoring scheme. So the system can easily identify skewed sources. It can balance one's consumption. A score represents an ideological position on a spectrum, say left or right, for example. It uses AI to identify one's recommended interests and push media with varying perspectives. So the entities being scored. Well, once the extension is applied, the user profile will show the account user score, the accessed information scores for websites, articles, and the publisher. And recommended information for websites, article, and the publisher. Here's an example of a spectrum. So it's essentially a numerical value that's assigned to the media and the reader. So as you can see, first of all, we've got two red zones, and the one on the right here, as you can see, is a score from 65 to 100. And this is considered, for example, to right on the ideological spectrum. Then you have the left side, which is from 0 to 35, which is also a spectrum of numerical values, and that's to left. And the center green area here is between 35 to 65, and it's a good diverse consumption of media. So essentially, the ideal score would be 50, but in this zone, it is the green zone. The algorithm for scoring. So a score will be assigned when a new piece of information is accessed by the user, a new account is created, scores or related entities get recalculated when, say, a related entity has a new publication, scores calculated by author scores, website scores, etc. An action is performed by a user, say they search something up or they leave a comment. Periodic professional inputs are received for the scores. There are also online surveys embedded to adjust these scores to ensure their accuracy, and scores are stored inside the user's profile. So here's an example of what the extension looks like. So you have your preferred scores we can see on the top, which is right here. This person is 89, which is on the right side of the spectrum. And he's recently viewed an article with certain ratings, as you can see, very in the right spectrum between 35 and 100. And on the bottom, you can see there's recommended information and recommended score, as you can see, which is 11 as well. And you can see that the extension is pushing more articles from the other side of the spectrum to even out this person's media consumption. Here's an example of the output. And as you can see, it was sorted based on the rating of 89. And Thank you.